Okay. In SAP, there is three-tier architecture. First is database server. Of course, uh, it has a single database. Then we have presentation servers. Presentation servers are what where end users are working, the end screens, the configuration where it is happening on the screens. That's presentation server. Application service where all the code is residing at, all the logic of the modules is residing at. So the program is executed at client level. And what is client level? Client is not your customer, but it is your instance, your server, that is basically a client in SAP. Okay. So one landscape or one client, let me relog in. One client is your area to configure, and it will be only for configuration. The other client or landscape or server will be now. This is one client. And how do we see the client? We see the client from here. This is our client. Okay. So one system and one database will be reserved for testing. The other will be for development. The other database landscape or instance will be for production, and the other will be for configuration. Okay. So let's check SE11 and SE11 MARA. Now this is a table display. Now this has fields, and what is this table about? This is general material data, okay, inventory material, and it has some key fields. Now key fields are those fields that identify a table, like for example client. That's why it is a key field. And initialized means that this cannot be zero. Initial cannot be zero, so it is initialized. It has to have a data. Material number, yes. If you want material data, you should have material number. Okay. So the other table, MAKT, let's check that. And there are other fields as well. For example, time of creation, date of last change. Now, these are not that significant fields, but because of the weightage of material number and client, these fields are key fields also and initialized. So whenever you're making a new internal table, you have to make sure the fields you are choosing as key fields have a heavy weightage and influence on the table. Okay. Similarly, let's see MAKT. Now this is a table for material descriptions. That was material data. Material descriptions will have key fields, okay, material number and language key. Now language is of significance here because material descriptions will be available in different languages for multinational companies that maintain inventories in different countries. Okay, and they will have development instance in various locations. So for that, descriptions will be locations are different, inventory will be different, so its language will be different as well. So in language, of course, that is also of significant weightage. Anyways, now if you want to check other tables, I can give you these notes, but anyways, we can actually move forward. So thing is, the logic is pretty simple. The end user works with the presentation layer, and we work in the application layer. And at the end, we have is database management, which is not accessible to all. Presentation layer, of course, is called SAP GUI, which is graphical user, and this can be accessed, and we can the screens that we are looking at right now, for example, this screen is basically uh, part of your GUI. Okay, and SAP gives you options for 3 instances: for Windows, for Java environment, and for HTML. Okay, for web-based user interface. And if we really want to see what is enabled for us, we will go for SC93. SC93, let's say MM02 display. This is a transaction code for material master, changing material. Okay. And this is the program running at the back end of this T code. And this T code will have various include programs. It is pulling in independent tables, structures, and packages that we'll see. I have double clicked this and it would show us here we have the screen number as well. Why do we need screen numbers? Screen numbers are actually used for making extensions to these screens and integrating with the new technology, which is the UI and the UX technology, Fury. Okay, so we have include program. Now this can be a structure, this can be a program, a code, a table. So you can actually access these programs by clicking on this, and here we have a table. Okay, and we can check in SE11 what this table is about, but right now we're just keeping it for the discussion's sake to understand what is the structure basically. Okay, I just wanted to show you that for this T code, we have the support on GUI for only for HTML, not even for Windows and Java. By default, some of the T codes will have all three, some will have only one. That depends on the usage and the importance of the T code. Okay. Now, let me show you another VF02. Why I'm actually showing you all this, because these are the processes that we will be integrating and working with and integrating programs with these T codes, because these T codes are the most frequent for customizations, and this will be required from your site. Okay, so this is a billing document which is generated from the sales and distribution module, and this is integrated with accounting. Over here, we have integrations with uh, different tables of accounting and that's why we have to actually see what table we are using. For that, I will click over here and press F1, and it will give me a pop-up window. Let me show you that window. From here, we have technical information. From this technical information, we get the field data. The field name is VBELN and table name is VBRK. You can go and check VBRK and we'll search for VBELN as well. And SC11 VBRK display. Now this is a billing document header data. Now header data is the top part of the document. So what do we have is the billing document, the client, the billing document as initialized, and key fields. Why initialized? Because you cannot see a billing document until you enter the number of the billing document. Okay, and there are many other fields that we will be using for our programming logic, and we have accounting document number. This is where you integrate and connect with finance. Okay, so Let me now open up the presentation first, because the presentation is also a part of this lecture. Right now, it's a little bit theoretical, but in the next, of course, by third or fourth lecture, of course, we will be going for pretty much deeper programming. Okay, let me just open up. Okay. Okay. Data structures in SAP. Now, what are the data structures? Some are client specific, some are cross client. What is client specific? Now, client specific is basically, I'll show you. For example, if I go to SE38 and 29th of December, ZT60, 29th December. Create ZT60, 29th December. ABAP executable. Local object. Now, this local object is basically on this client, on this server. It cannot be moved to other instances. Like I told you, there are instances like testing, dev, production, config. So right now we are in the development side. Okay. And this will not be, because this is local, this cannot be transported because we are just testing our program. Okay. Right. Datum, activate. Okay, now this is basically system date that it is showing you. Now it is showing in day, month, and year. Okay, so I'll go to SU01, and SAP WASNet is our user. Change defaults. Default over here, date format is year Gregorian date. Save. Okay, now let's go to SC38. Change. Okay, direct processing. It's still showing because I have to re-log in. So what I'll do, I'll just re-log in. SC38, ZT60, 29 December, ABAP, display. Okay, it's active direct processing, and over here we have the years. change. The format is changed, and it is showing us the year first. Okay. Now, so at the client level, we have specific data that is reserved within a client, and cross client is when we actually write a program that can be transported and shared across the client. For example, if I go to VF02 or VF03 907, continue. Over here, I have this material billing document 907, and I have this material. Okay, if I double click this, okay, now this material basically will show me details about what this material is about. Okay, and PSD is not available. Okay, no worries, no worries. We can go to counting. Double click from here, material. Now this is the header data. Okay, now this is the material. For example, I tested this material and configured this material. Now I want this material in the production, in the production server. Then of course what I'll do, I will extend this material to that production server. So that will be your cross-client data sharing. So a client is characterized by the fact that it has its own business data environment. This is our business data environment where we have information that we have maintained. Okay. The data in a client is known as client specific data. This is not client specific, but the date that we showed in that program, that is client specific. And for example, user, this is client specific to this landscape. Okay. Repository. The repository, the central store for all ABAP workbench development object, is also cross-client. Okay. Now, cross-client, whatever we actually are not writing in the local package, because this is local package, we can we will not actually move this program to another server. So repo objects are grouped together to form packages. The local package that we're working on, it has everything that will not be transported. So packages are containers for semantically linked development objects like programs, tables. Okay. So client 100, like this is our client 100. Okay. And client 200, this is another instance. This can be development server and this can be your quality server. Over here, we will have the logic sitting at the bottom, and that will be integrated with all your clients where you want these modules, the program logic, to be extended to. Okay. So speaking of ABAP programming, as I mentioned earlier, application actually sits at the middle of your landscape. This is called the three-tier architecture, where we have presentation, application, and databases layer. And ABAP actually carries the logic along with the logic of the modules like finance, HCM, sales distribution. The transactions that we have seen were from sales and distribution. Okay, so all applications are developed using ABAP. Event driven. Now, event driven is basically, what is event driven? That whenever I write PF03, this is event that I'm generating and triggering, and I'm asking the system to display me billing document. Okay, and this continues again an event, and it will bring me the information. So I click at accounting. This is an event on the screen. Okay, this is an event. Now, accounting document and controlling are two separate events. Okay. So ABAP, basically what we will be looking at will be the editor in ABAP, the data dictionary, the screen painter for making reports and screens, and menu painter for making menus, like we have seen on the first on the first screen, that is /n/n, and this is basically your screen that you will be designing, and you will be designing the transactions. Okay. Uh, these are some of the transactions that we'll be working with: SC38, SC11. Okay. And a little bit about that. The first ABAP word is known as a keyword. For example, if I go to SC38, change. Now this word is blue, this is keyword. Now every program that we write with will actually start with report. This is not a report, but this is how an ABAP program actually starts with. Write is your keyword, okay? And every statement in ABAP ends with a full stop until it's a continuation that we'll see in the later stages. System, datum, these are some of the system reserved syntax commands that we'll be using very frequently. Okay. And ABAP code is not sensitive. The other words are either operands, operators, or additions to keywords. Each statement begins with a keyword and ends with a period. Okay. So that is all about. We have actually covered lecture 2 and 3 altogether. So we'll be covering more in the next one. So of course, we'll be seeing more of programs in the next lectures. Let me just show you another one. SC11T001W and display. Over here, this is plants and branches, very important table and very vital table. Again, the keywords and initialized um, fields are many, because many fields will actually characterize and identify, and we will be an identifier for many pointers like supplier number. That is also important, customer number. So this has quite a lot of weightage from the business point of view. Valuation area, and valuation area is a plant. Okay. Name, plant, and again client. So client, again, it's one of the essentials, but not always. But we are looking at tables which has client as a necessary initialized field, which is also a key field as well. Okay. So any questions so far? Right now, we're just establishing an understanding about SAP, and later from the next, of course, we'll be going into full throttle. Okay. So you will be enjoying quite a lot of programs with us.